Any tips on docking a power boat? Honestly, seems impossible for someone who doesn't have help from someone who already knows how to do it. So
Well, I guess
docking.
let's start with single engine, then twin engine.
Yeah. So you just got to kind of get and this is kind of like, we got a question, what makes a good captain too, is one of our little questions here or whatever. You just got to kind of get the feel for the conditions. You got to try to, get a feel for what the wind's doing, what the current's doing, and all that. And always, 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 if you can, you want to try to back into the wind or back into the current. So if you've got a single engine, let's say outboard or an IO, and as you're backing, if you're going to pull into a slip, and if you go past the slip, and then you can back up against the current or the wind, the bow has to follow where you're pulling it. You're dragging it back up against the current. Your bow's kind of like a flag on a flagpole, right? So, and your engine's going to be the flagpole, and the bow's the flag. So as you're dragging it in, you're pulling it back in. Now, if you go with the wind and you're trying to pull into a slip, as you're starting to back up into that slip, the wind or the current's going to push you around past that anyway. So at that point, now you got to kind of stop, and then you're going to go to finally back up against it. So if you get yourself originally turned around and in the right position to be able to do that. So if you're backing in, you want to back into the wind or the current. If you're going in bow first, you want to kind of drive into the wind or the current. So maybe you're pulling your boat up onto a lift and you got a real strong crosswind or cross current. You're going to drive your bow into that as you're pulling up on the lift to get up in between the PVC pipe uprights. Think of it like a fish, swimming upstream. And the worst position you can ever get yourself into is sideways to the wind or the current, because at that point you don't have any control. You're going to get pushed along or whatever. And if you're that salmon swimming upstream, that's when the bear's going to swap out and grab you when you get sideways to it, because you're not swimming and you're not going. So single engine, go past the slip, back into the wind or back into the current to get yourself back in there. Twin engines, the same thing. You're still going to do that as you're coming in there, and just, go slow. And I get it. If you got a lot of wind or a lot of current, that's where you're just spending time on your boat. You're going to have to know how much kind of throttle you've got to give it to make it do what you want or walk in there where you want. But just practice, just go slow. If your rub rails are meant for getting up against things. So, I mean, if you got a piling there and you got to lay against it, and then you can kind of power around it, you can come around and pivot off of it that way.
Everybody always freaks out with the piling thing, pushing the boat off the piling.
I can guarantee you could go find a piling that doesn't have, it's not all scratched up.
That's what they're there for. They're your friend.
You can also, there's other techniques you could do. So maybe as you're pulling up to a dock, if you can get a line on the bow and that current's running sideways, if you turn your engine towards the dock, put it in reverse, let that bow line come tight, and that's going to hold your bow in position. So as you've got the engine aimed at the dock, just give it nice, slow, steady pressure in reverse, and it's going to fight the current, it's going to fight the wind, but it's going to pull you over and eventually get you over to where you're laying up alongside the dock. There's videos out there. I've done them through MarineMax here and stuff like that. So if you go check those out, hopefully that helps. But it's just getting out there and practicing with it, and just got to get the feel for your boat. Hope that helps you a little bit, and just K-Shaw, just get out there and do it.